So good day class, we're now on our second quarter for our subject General Mathematics. So for this quarter, so we're going to discuss more on business mathematics. So for the session 1A, so we have simple interest. So here are the terminologies that you will encounter as we go on with the simple interest, and the different topics include in business mathematics. So first is simple interest. We use the symbol I sub s. So that is the interest that is computed on the principal. The interest remains constant throughout the term. Or in Tagalog, we know that interest is tubo. Lender or creditor, a person or institution who invests the money or make the funds available. So, pwedeng bangko yan, pwedeng tao din. So, siya yung nagpapautang. Borrower or debtor, a person or institution who owes the money or avails of the funds from the lender. So, ito naman yung nangungutang. For example, nag-loan ka sa bangko or nangutang ka sa isang tao. So, ikaw yung borrower or debtor. Then, for origin or loan date, date on which money is received by the borrower. For example, nag-loan ka, na-approve siya ng November 15, 2021. So, yun yung loan date. So, kung kailan mo na-receive si money na inutang mo, hinirang mo, or kung saan man institution yan, or sa person man, or sa debtor mo. Next is repayment date or maturity date. That is the date on which the money borrowed or loaned is to be completed repaid. So, for example, that is a loan. So, you need to pay the amount in a specific amount based on the agreement. So, that is the maturity date. Number 7 is time or term. Amount of time in years the money is borrowed or invested. Length of time between the origin and maturity date. So, for example, you borrow in a certain institution, for example, in a bank, for 5 years, that is the time. For example, you invested naman, not borrow, you invested money, 50,000 for 2 years. Ayun. The number of years or months man siya, that is the time. So, we use the symbol T. Next, principal, denoted by capital letter P, amount of money borrowed or invested on the original date. Kung borrowed siya, for example, you borrow 50,000, that is your principal. If you invest money, or kung ikaw man ay nag-save sa bangko, yun po yung original amount, which is called the principal. Rate, denoted by small letter R, annual rate, usually in percent, charged by the lender, or rate of increase of the investment rate. Usually, nire-represent niya yung percentage nung interest mo. Example, 5%, 10%. Then, we change the percent into decimal so we can compute the interest. Interest, denoted by capital letter I, that is the amount paid or earned for the use of money. Then 11, maturity value or the future value, denoted by capital letter F, amount after T years that the lender received from the borrower on the maturity date. So when we say future value or the maturity value, for example, you borrow 50,000 for 5 years at 5%. So 50,000 is your principal, then the computed interest on that specific term, you borrow the money, that is 50,000 plus the computed interest, that is the maturity value or the future value. So, we're done with the different terms. So, pakitandaan po yung mga symbols din so we can apply in solving. So, simple interest formula. So, we have I is equal to PRT, where I sub S is the simple interest, P is the principal or amount invested or borrowed, R is the simple interest rate, usually expressed in percent. Then T is the term of time in years. So let's have an example. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, Miss Dada, a female resident of may pagkakaisa somewhere in Quezon Province, thinks of a business that can provide for her need as well as the need of her neighbor, so she can be of help even in this trying time. Since she doesn't have money on hand, she decided to borrow from a bank as the startup capital of 50,000 at 7% simple interest rate payable with 5 years. So, compute for the interest yield. So, first, to compute that, we need to determine first what are the given. So, na-discuss natin yan kanina sa definition of terms. So, identify natin yung given. So, analyze the problem. So, what is 50,000? That is the amount of money na gagamitin niyang capital for the business. So, that is the principal. While our rate, the interest, the simple interest rate, 7%. So, we change it into decimal. That is 0.07. Then, another given is time. So, time is 5 years. So, we now completed the given here in this problem. So, we're going to ask the interest. So, going back to the formula, I sub S is equal to PRT. So, you can use calculator in computation of the simple interest. You can use scientific calculator or just an ordinary cellphone calculator. So, just substitute to the given formula. So, compute for the interest. So, what is our P? So, our P is 50,000. Our R is 0.07. And our T is 5. Ayan. Then, compute using calculator. 50,000 times 0.07 times 5. Compute natin sa calcu. Paki-compute po. So, kailangan may kaharap tayong calculator. So, the answer is 17,500. So, yan yung interest ngayon within 5 years na inutang ni Miss Dada from her 50,000 na utang na nag-rate or nag-interest rate siya ng 7% within 5 years. So, yan na po yung tubo. So, at the end of 5 years, magkano yung babayaran niya from the original principal of 50,000. So, i-add mo siya, 50,000 plus 17,500. So, 67,500 pesos yung magiging future value niya from 50,000 na inutang. Ayan. So, we have 67,500 pesos. Yan yung total money na kailangan niyang maibayad from 50,000 na utang with the given interest rate and the term of payment. So here in this table, pakita lang natin how does the interest accumulated every year. So from the original problem natin kanina, our principal is 50,000, the interest rate is 7%. Then within 5 years, so for example, 1 year lang niya babayaran, compute natin, I is equal to PRT. So 50,000 times 0.07 times 0.07, ganyan, times 1 for 1 year. So the answer is 3,500. So 50,000, the principal, plus 3,500. So within 1 year, that is now 53,500. Well, within 2 years, ayun din, just substitute to the formula, 50,000 times 0.07 times 2, 7,000. So, 50,000 times 7,000 plus 7,000 is 57,000. So, yearly, nadadagdagan siya. So, yung computed natin kanina, the time or the term is 5 years. Ayun po, 50,000 times 0.07 times 5 is 17,500. Then the maturity value or the future value is 50,000 plus 17,500. After 5 years, eto na ngayon yung 50,000 na inutang niya. 67,500. So, kung yan ay madadagdagan ulit yung term of years, so ganun din. Kung 6 years, 50,000 times 0.07 times 6, mapapalitan lang natin yung term or the time, the number of years, kung kailan mo mababayaran yung inutang mo. Yun nga lang, since bangko po yan, ang agreement nila within 5 years, so kailangan mabayaran. Next, so we're now on session 1B, compound interest. So we're done with the simple interest. So tandaan natin yung formula ng simple interest. So what is compound interest? So denoted by I sub C, kanina ay I sub S, is the interest computed on the principal and also on the accumulated past interest. So compound interest is a way to earn money because you don't just earn using your original money but also the interest you earn. So usually, ito po ay sa mga utang sa bangko, nag-loan ka. Hindi lang siya yung interest rate ang binabayaran mo. Every year, nag-earn siya ng interest compoundedly. So later on, maintindihan natin what's the difference between simple interest and compound interest. So the compound interest formula, so future value is equal to P quantity 1 plus R raised to T. So this is our formula. Take note of the formula. So where F is the future value, P is the principal amount, R is the compound interest rate, and T is the time or time in years. So let's have an example. So due to COVID-19 pandemic, Ms. Dada, a female resident of Barangay May Pag-asa, somewhere in Quezon Province, thinks a business that can provide for her need as well as the need of her neighbor, so she can be of help even in this trying time. Since she doesn't have money on hand, she decided to borrow from a bank as a startup capital of 50,000 at 7% interest rate compounded annually and payable within 5 years. So, compute for the interest yield. So, parang kaparehas lang to nung example natin kanina. Yun nga lang, kung mapapansin natin, simple interest siya. Dito nakalagay siya na 7% interest rate compounded annually na wala dun sa problem kanina. So, magkaiba siya. Isang simple interest, isang compound interest. So, next, let's identify the given. So, P is 50,000, R is 7%, T is 5 years, and N is 1 or the compound interest, the N. So, to compute for that, so pakita natin using the tabular form. So, ang original money or the principal natin is 50,000, interest rate is 7%, time is 5 years, di ba? Within 5 years. Then, the compound interest nakalagay doon ay compounded annually. So, annually nire-represent niya ay 1. So, therefore, meron tayong 1 dito. Pag sinabi namang semi-annually, kahit di natin nabanggit dito para alam nyo rin, semi-annually, twice per year, tumutubo. Huwag sinabi doon sa given na semi-annually. So, ang nire-represent ni N is 2. While quarterly is 4. Monthly, 12. Ayun, nakalagay naman doon, compounded annually, therefore, 1 year, 1. So here, so 50,000 times 0.07 times 1 is equal to 3,500. Ito ngayon yung interest niya within 1 year. Within 1 year. So, 50,000 plus 3,500 is 53,500. So, within 1 year, eto na ngayon si 50,000. So, check nyo mabuti anong difference niya sa simple interest. Next, for the second year, hindi na siya 50,000. So, the accumulated interest nung first year, which is 53,500, eto na siya ngayon. Times the rate of interest, which is 0.7, times 1. So, eto ngayon ang answer niya. So, using the calculator, times natin 53,500 times 0.07 times 1. Ito yung magiging answer. Pwede natin i-check sa calcu. So, the accumulated interest nung first year is 53,500 plus the computed interest ngayon ng second year, 3,745. Add natin. Ito na ngayon yung amount of money within 2 years. So, ibig sabihin, yung tinubo ni 50,000 every year, tumutubo pa ulit siya. So, that's why compounded interest. Unlike sa simple interest, fixed siya. Depende sa years na pagbabayad. Ito, tumubo na within first year, yun ngayon yung tutubuan niya ng 7%. So, mas malaki ang interest kapag sinabing compound interest. So, continue natin. So, for the second year, ang tinubo na ngayon ni 50,000 is naging 57,245 times 0.07 times 1. So, the answer is 4,007 and 15 centavos. So, for the second year, 57,245 plus the interest, 4,007.15. So, for the third year, eto na ngayon yung amount. Ang laki, no? From 50,000, 3 years pa lang, 61,000 na siya. And more. Then, compounded interest pa rin siya. Ayan, within 3 years, eto yung money, amount of money. Then, times 7% times 1. So, this will be the answer. Then, just add the amount or the interest, the future value within 3 years, plus the compounded interest na 4,827.65. So, it will become 66,079.80. So, for 4 years, eto na. Then, ayan po, eto na yung money niya for 4 years. Na nag-interest na siya. Times 0.07, di naman nababago yung rate natin, times 1. So, eto na yung accumulated interest niya. 4,625.59. So, 66,079.80. Ito yung within 4 years. Tapos, plus the interest niya. So, after 5 years, ito na ngayon yung amount of money. Ang laki ng tinubo kapag compounded interest. Compound interest. Unlike simple interest, sabi ko nga po, fixed siya. Kung 50,000 times the interest rate times number of years. Kung 2 years, ganun lang. Ito, within yearly, kapag nag-accumulate na siya ng interest, tutubo ulit, saka mo siya i-compute for the interest. So, ibig sabihin, every year na tumutubo ang money for that 50,000, naa-add siya ng naa-add dun. Unlike dito, balikan natin yung natin, yung slide natin dito. For the